All right. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the SoCal AI Talks podcast. I'm your host Luis, and along with my partner Edgar, we talk to business owners and entrepreneurs about their field of expertise, and we dive into the future of AI and how that's impacting their small business or medium business. Today, we are talking with Stefannie DeLaMora, owner of Tricore Fitness. Stefannie, how is Arizona treating you? Phoenix getting hot yet?
Oh, Phoenix is we're in the thick of the heat now.
So, Stephanie, tell us a little bit about the journey and how Tricore Fitness started, how you found it.
So I've been in the fitness industry for about 27 years. I started as a Pilates instructor in Texas. I was recruited to move out here to Phoenix for a job teaching Pilates, and I did that for about 7 years. But during that time, I continued my education and went into the NASM, which is National Academy of Sports Medicine, to get my certification through there. I did, Olympic weightlifting. So it was really big at the time. So I got my CrossFit cert. And so I started using a combination of all of these things, the Pilates with the strength training, with the cardio work, the intensity with my personal training clients, and I was getting great results. And so that kind of manifested into me leaving the place that I was in. I was in a big corporate gym, and they were very strict on, like, you hired you as a Pilates instructor. If you want your clients to lift weights, you have to refer them to a personal trainer on the personal trainer floor. So I was like, or I can just go start my own business. With that being said, I was a personal trainer. I had a book of clients, but I knew nothing about starting a business. So I started very small, and I was in about 900 square feet, and I stuck to personal training. We slowly grew into some small group training. We had like some Pilates chairs. It was so small that we had to find things that we could stack, that we could move. We could convert the studio from being one thing to another. Very creative space. And we were there for about 2 years. And then I moved into a much larger space. We went to 2,500 square feet. Still focused on personal training. That business at the time was called DeLaFit. I was there for 5 years. Primarily personal training. We did start doing some Pilates reformer classes. We had 6 reformers. So kind of dipping our toes into group fitness. And then during that time, I was, trying to figure out, I'm like, how do I take, what I'm doing with my personal training clients, this combination of strength training and Pilates, how do I take that and bring it to the masses? And so that's kind of where we started brainstorming, and we came up with Tricore. So Tricore is endurance, strength, and mobility in one session. The original program was 75 minutes. We did 15 minutes of cardio, 30 minutes of strength training, and then 30 minutes of Pilates. And I had a business coach at the time, and he was like, Stephanie, nobody wants to work out for 75 minutes. And I was like, all right, that's fair. Yeah, it was intense. It was intense. And so we ran like a 6-week trial within my studio. I started a separate LLC. Tricore is its own brand. We had a 6-week trial where we did bring it down to the 60-minute program, and we got great results. People loved it. People loved the camaraderie of being in a group class. They loved, it's just a little bit different than personal training. It's like, instead of me being your cheerleader, you guys are each other's cheerleader. So with that success, I was trying to implement it into my existing studio, and it just didn't quite fit. The people who were paying high dollar for personal training were like, we don't like this loud, group fitness thing that's going on. And so in 2017, going into 2018, I had to make the tough decision to close that studio and then move and open an exclusive Tricore space. And that was 7 years ago. So now we're in a space where we do exclusively Tricore classes. I still do some personal training on the side. We kind of, pepper that into the time that we don't have classes going, because, fitness classes are morning, evening, maybe a midday, but for the most part, there's a lot of dead time during the day. So I still, we still do some personal training there. But yeah, so that's kind of where we are right now. 7 years in, it's going well. I've got a staff now of 10 coaches, and I basically do more management stuff now, and I teach one class a week just because I still do love teaching. But, it's that whole, coaches for the last 15 years of me owning a studio. I was like, you can either work in your business or on your business. And it's like, all right, fine. So I'm on the business part, and yeah, we've got some really exciting things in the works for growth. And
yeah, we saw you offer franchising, so congratulations on your growth.
Yeah,
I love your website. The colors, by the way, purple and all that really pops out.
Thank
we
you.
were looking in there. Very nice design as well. I mean, you can schedule classes right from there.
I like that little Google thing that you did too, where you can tour the gym.
Yeah,
that was really nice. I've never seen that before, so that was
yeah. Our big, and it kind of happened by accident, but really our culture here is like, we want we understand that, going into a gym is intimidating for anybody. Like, well, even for me, when I go to a new space, I'm always a little nervous, get a little butterflies, you know what you're walking into. So we try to make it as transparent as possible. So like, even just as simple as like, where to go when you walk in, there's a front desk, it feels a little more familiar because you've walked through it. And we really just, my strategy with that is like, only about 20% of the population exercises. And it's like, and there's 1,000 places for those fit people that, feel confident and they work out all the time. And it's like, how do we tap into that other 80%? It's like, how do we get those people that, and it maybe want to, but don't know where to start. Maybe they're afraid, they're nervous. So it's everything from the branding of the bright colors, making sure that our social media and our website reflects our clientele. It's like all ages, shapes, and sizes are welcome here. It's not about, it's not, everybody's not 25 and they're matching Lululemon outfits. It's like, no, we want to bring fitness to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a great message. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
As far as your classes, so tell me a little bit about the classes. Do you do separate functional training classes and separate Pilates and separate cardio, or is it all, let's say I go in and take a class, how would that work?
Yeah, so we have two different options. We've got 3 classes on the schedule. So we've got our fire class, our foundation class, and then we have a full Pilates class. So our fire and our foundation class are the combination. So you come in and kind of see the space in the background. So the further space, we've got a rack where we do traditional training. So, weights, med balls, bands, all of that kind of stuff. So it's about a 20 to 25 minute program over there. And then we go over to the reformers and do kind of an active recovery cool down on the reformers. So you're always on a reformer no matter what class you take. Our fire class is really what it sounds like, a little higher intensity. We're going to run, we're going to jump, we're going to throw things. Where our foundation class, we slow it down a little bit. We focus more on like balance and control, and not necessarily that it's easier, it's just different challenge. And I think fire gets a bad rap, and some people were like, you should probably change the name because it scares people. And I'm like, I mean, you can't please everybody. But then we still keep our traditional Pilates classes. And the idea behind the whole concept is, when I got into the industry and when I opened my first studio, I kind of saw all of these, like, boutique fitness was just starting to take off. But then I saw people, they were like, oh, well, I have a membership at a spin studio and I have a membership at a Pilates studio. And then I go over here for my strength training. And it's like, all of a sudden, you're going to 3 or 4 different gyms to get everything you want in a program. And so the idea behind Tricore is that, it's a one-stop shop, and you can get, I really recommend, I kind of prescribe, it's like, maybe take 2 to 3 fire or foundation classes a week, and then maybe 1 or 2 Pilates classes a week, and you get this nice full balanced program.
Okay.
So you did mention your social media, and we see your Instagram is very active. You guys have over 1,400 posts. You mentioned that you're doing most of the management now. Are you managing the social media?
No, I mean, we do the content, but no, I have a social media manager who just happens to be my daughter. She started her own company.
Yeah, I tell you, young people are on it. I think
yeah,
they're the best for that kind of stuff, right?
So yeah, she's all about it.
Yeah, so tell us more about your day-to-day then. What is it that you do, that you manage, as the gym owner and founder, obviously?
So I have a studio manager and a sales manager. So I kind of work with them. They kind of do the day-to-day operations as far as like managing memberships, managing the staff. And then, we have a weekly meeting where we work on that. Most of my stuff is outside marketing. As the CEO of the company, I've taken the role as like, basically my job is, how do we make more money? How do I find different revenue streams? So like right now I'm looking at a line of products. I've always been a little like shy about bringing in like nutrition products into my studio, but I'm looking at that as, a different revenue stream. I'm going to be going and hitting the streets as it hopefully cools off a little bit in the fall. I'm going to hit the streets and go out and do some like B2B marketing with, chiropractors, PTs, like different people in the community to just kind of get the word out. I do a lot of networking. I do a lot of social stuff I always say, I like to go out in the community and just spread the gospel of Tricore.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, grassroots still works, right?
Yeah, I found it's most effective. I've dumped a lot of money in marketing, and I find that the more you're in front of people like human connection, and I just find that that's the best way to get our name out there.
What have you tried? I mean, I'm guessing you tried like Facebook ads or Google ads, right?
Yeah, I've tried both of those. You get some return, but you don't get the quality, I feel, as you do, when you have face to face with people. referrals. I mean, referrals is really how my business has grown. Is just word of mouth, people telling their friends. So we try to work on different types of referral programs because, you get one person to come in and again, with that first class, we even offer them a guest pass. So it's like, if you're nervous about coming by yourself, like here's a pass to bring a friend with you for free. And then when they come in, we kind of ask for referrals that way. It's like, do you want to share this with somebody else, somebody else you love, friends, family?
Yeah. I mean, right off your website pops up right away. 2 classes for $32. I mean, that sounds like a great deal to me.
Yeah, our drop in is 32, so it's like basically you're getting 3 for 1. But the idea is we want everybody to try one of each class, like you get to experience the whole system.
And you can book right from your site. So yeah, you've done a really nice job on.
Do you use an app? Do members have an app so that they can book classes, or how
They have an app through our our CRM system. So we use a company called Walla who does all of our like studio management stuff, and so they have their own app. I've invested in a custom app before. I didn't really see a big return on that investment. The Walla app works just fine, and it's semi-branded for us. I didn't see a big benefit in spending that money.
Yeah. There's other ones out there like Club Ready and MindBody, right? But have you tried any of those?
I was with MindBody for years. So I'm part of a business networking group, and that's how I found Walla. So Walla is a lot of people that used to work for MindBody that, kind of got frustrated with the glitches and the problems with it. And they started their own company. And so we were one of their first clients, and it's been a great system. So they took all the good from MindBody and built something new, and so far I love it. We've been with them for about 2 years, and they seem to
That's
be
awesome.
growing and doing really well. And what I like is they just integrated a marketing suite. So we were using a separate company. We were using Go High Level for our like
Email marketing.
digital marketing and email marketing and that kind of stuff. And so now we've switched over to Walla, so it's all in one space.
Awesome. Are you using any AI tools for your marketing, for either, coming up with ideas or content? Yeah, I know you said your daughter's managing that. I'm wondering if she's using anything.
Well, I know she is.
Yeah.
I don't use a ton of it. I will say, for like I still do like the in-house email marketing stuff. I write content for different revenue or different streams. So like the stuff that I do, I definitely use AI because it just makes life easier. I'm a fitness person. I'm not a writer. So now I've just learned, I use AI where I'm like, okay, let me just like blah my ideas. And then they wrap it up in this beautiful little package. And I'm like, great.
Yeah, it really does. It's great.
Yeah.
We agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen more so we've been doing this for a little bit, right? Talking to fitness or people in the health and wellness industry, and we're seeing some more gyms and studios experiment with some AI tools to handle repetitive things like admin tasks or tracking appointment follow-ups. Sometimes some of them even create like customized workouts. Do you see yourself adopting some of those tools yourself in the future?
I mean, I think we're trying to find that balance because we do have some AI and some automation that we use for our leads. We basically just kind of let that take over like our lead funnel and like our sales process. And we kind of saw a drop in our sales. And so we were like, okay, how do we find the balance between letting AI do some of it, but then at what point do you bring that human touch in? It's like, because people know they're talking to a robot, and there's a certain point where they're going to stop responding. And so we're still working on finding that sweet spot of like, when do we step in and start a conversation?
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Was that like an email marketing campaign that would auto reply to your needs?
a text
Text.
messaging campaign. Yeah. So yeah, we've got text messaging. And it's all stuff that we set up in our marketing suite, so we've got a funnel, and it's just, it's based on their answers, the responses that they get.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some people, and I definitely feel like it's the younger generation that, they'll communicate with the computer as much as they want. And then they get that click to buy, and they don't want to talk to anybody.
Yep.
I definitely find that it's kind of a generational thing. Like the younger people don't want to talk to anybody. People, I would say like my age and older are like, no, I'd still like to speak to a human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to be greeted.
Depends, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you feel like tech is complementing what you do, or is it still more about that one-on-one connection in your space?
I mean, I think it's a good compliment, and I know like the online coaching market has really taken off.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's always going to be a market for in person, though. People, especially people, as people are working from home more and more, and they don't have that human connection. Something that they're looking for is like, I need to go be around people and like have a conversation and have some human contact and camaraderie versus
Or
being in
just
a room.
get out to
Yeah,
get sun, right?
yeah, just get a little sunshine.
So Stephanie, tell us about some challenges or bottlenecks that you're seeing in your business at the moment. If you could wave a magic wand and get rid of one of those, what would that be?
But, the challenge is always money.
Money,
It's
like you
that
were saying
constant,
earlier.
yeah, it's that
Right. Yeah.
constant cycle of like, as we grow, it's like my expenses go up. The more I hire staff, I free myself up to market and do more of the operation stuff. But now it's like suddenly it's like my profit margins are shifting again. And so it's that constant balance of growth versus income and like how do we challenge that. And I'm finding the same thing with the franchises. The franchise development has been really slow because it takes money, and it's like there's not a quick return in that, but there's a possibility for a really strong return. It's just a matter of the right time and the right space. And
What's
How's
the
the
boss thought?
franchising going? Have you had people franchise
No,
out?
I don't have any franchises yet. So I've been working on the franchise development. I've got all of the background stuff done. I've got a franchise developer. We've got, the systems, the processes in place. Like the business itself is ready to franchise. Now it's just a matter of, marketing that, getting that first sale, and everybody says in the franchise market, like that first sale is going to be the hardest. Once you convince that first person that they can do it and they do it well, then, it starts to snowball. So I'm
Yeah.
just in that process of finding that one person or that maybe a group of investors that are like, I see what you're doing and I believe in it and I want to take the leap to help you grow.
Yeah, yeah. I want to back up a little bit. Talking about some of the challenges. So I'm a former gym owner myself. I used to own a franchise fit body boot camp, right? But this was in 2019, right before COVID hit. So when COVID hit, unfortunately, I wasn't able to keep it going. But I remember one of my challenges was always getting leads in the door, right? So we would run challenges, and that was our way of getting people in the door. We would sell like a challenge for $200-300, and it was like a 6-week challenge. The idea behind it was obviously that after 6 weeks, they would see results and they would be hooked, and then they would sign up a membership. Is that a strategy that you use yourself, or what's your lead strategy?
Yeah, we don't do challenges. I did at the beginning, and I kind of found, it was like every 6 weeks you're hunting for a new batch of people, because I feel like the people that are into that kind of stuff, they're looking for low cost, quick something, and they bounce around. And so, I kind of found just sticking to the grassroots leads and getting people to refer. They stay longer. They feel like they're part of the community when they've got people in the space. But it definitely is not a high volume way of dealing, getting leads. And so leads is definitely a constant challenge. And that's kind of where I'm going back out into the community and seeing if I can get referrals from, like I said, doctors, chiropractors, those kind of people that are in the same health and wellness industry that will kind of understand, the benefit of referring their clients to a place where they're, not only are they working out, but they're getting coached and they've got people watching them and encouraging them. Cause that was how I built my personal training business. Is I kind of found that, somebody has an injury or they had surgery and they go to a PT and, it's like, okay, after 6 weeks, insurance is done paying for it. And they go, well, you should keep working out. But that's all the advice they get. So they go to LA Fitness or, Gold's Gym, and they walk in and they're kind of like, walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes. They don't know what to do and they walk out. And so then they end up in this cycle of injuries because they never learn how to strengthen their body and fix the things that were causing these problems. And so that's really what I focused my personal training business on, was like post rehab. How do I teach people about their bodies and teach them how to stay well and healthy? And, we do our best in that group fitness setting. To do that kind of coaching. The Pilates definitely helps because it's that mobility after their strength training that, keeps the body moving well and balanced and stable. But then, like I said, we still have the personal training option. So if we've got somebody that's dealing with like an acute injury, we've got that as an option for them. So they don't have to go outside for that. They can get it here.
Yeah. I mean, the name is perfect, right? Tricore Fitness. You got 3 things they can work on at your gym.
Yep. Yeah. We've used that a lot. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
thank you.
Well, Stephanie, so we're coming up on time, but I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of background on us. Luis and I, we've been friends for a long time. We've been friends since we were like in 5th grade. So we recently launched this channel, which is SoCal AI Talks. And what we're doing now is we're talking to health and wellness professionals, business owners and entrepreneurs like yourself, and getting trying to understand what their pain points are of their business. What we do is we then we have these calls, and then we then run these calls as transcript through an AI system, right? That AI system will then analyze the conversation that we had, and then it'll spit back out some information on whether there's opportunities for you to implement AI tools into your day-to-day operations to help you either save time or money. So once we're done here, we're going to do that, and we're going to send that to you completely free of charge, just as a thank you for being on our channel today on this episode. But when you have an opportunity, we'd like for you to review it, take a look at it, and to see if there's anything that piques your interest. We would love to have a follow-up conversation with you to kind of explain to you how we can help you out. So if you're not opposed to that, we could set up a follow-up call and then go from there.
Yeah,
Does that sound
absolutely.
good? Yeah, awesome. Other than that, we'd like to give you the opportunity to tell our listeners and our viewers today where they can find you.
Or
What's your
any
website, phone number.
anybody
Now's your
interested in a
time to show
franchise?
yourself right here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've got a franchise page on our website, so you can find it. You can find our website. So it's tricorefit.com. We're on Instagram and Facebook. Same thing, just at TricoreFit. Pretty simple name, easy to remember. And yeah, you can always find me at Stefannie at tricorefit.com if you want to email me directly. But yeah, you can check out our franchise page. It gives you all of your general information about what that looks like. And then I've got a great girl named Erica, who is my salesperson. So if you're interested, she'll tell you the rest.
Walk you through the process. Awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing. So we wish you the best of luck with franchising.
Yeah.
I hope that goes well. I know it's that first sale is hard to get. Much luck to you.
Thank you.
Thanks again for your time. And that's pretty much it.